Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Duru. I'm a design and building consultant here in Perth, Western Australia. Today we're going to be reviewing 3 floor plans to try to see if we can make them better. What we're aiming to do here is trying to give people some positive feedback, some constructive criticism with their floor plans. Now, obviously, they're working closely with a building consultant who has way more information than we do. We have no idea about budget, R codes, design constraints, and also the client's design brief. So we're getting a very, very narrow snapshot of the design in terms of what we're looking at. So what we're going to try to do today is actually take the floor plan for what it is and assume that this is actually what the customer wants. Our aim is to try to make minor improvements to the existing floor plan. We've got 3 people that have sent through their plans, and we're going to start off with Dylan. It is a 4x2 with a theatre and an activity and a study. He's given us some notes as well. The notes read, our living area marked on the floor plans will actually be our dining area for our large 10-seater table, and our dining is going to be a custom built-in coffee/buffet/reading nook. He said that we didn't need that many TV areas. We already have a purpose-built theatre an activity room. So the first thing I want to point out is that the floor plan works. So it is a really, really functional floor plan. I think that there is plenty of storage in here, which is great. It is quite unique. It is not your standard floor plan. You know, we've got our entry, study, theatre at the front, as well as our entry into the main suite. And this long passageway has also been turned into a feature with that gallery and the square bulkhead with the lighting as well. I also love the mudroom coming through the garage. Having this, I feel, is very functional. Laundry, it's also in an optimal location. Going through, we've got a shopper's entry into the scullery and subsequently the kitchen. So this is a really, really smart design. Dylan, I really like it, so well done. Walk-in robe ensuite, I also really like that. I love that design. At the back end of the home, we've got our dining area, living area, and then we've got the minor wing. So beds 2, 3 and 4, and we've got our minor bathroom. So we've got east on this side, north is down on this side, and then west is over here. So there's not too much we can really do about that. I think you've done the best that you possibly can in terms of passive design. The first thing I will kind of look at is that front facade. So we've got our 2 awning windows to our study and our 2 awning windows to the theatre. And this front facade is actually beautiful. I really, really like it. But you can see that we've got slimmer windows on the left than we do to the right. Now, I understand the study is a narrower room to our theatre, but what we could do potentially is to make the windows to the theatre narrower. So from 1010, which is quite wide, we could go to either 810 or 910, and then increase the ones in the study to an 810 or a 910, just so that they can all match. I like to see a bit more uniformity in the front facade, especially when you've got nice awning windows to the front like this. The other thing I would check as well is we've got a T-bar to the front garage, and you know I love T-bars to the garage. We get that rendered brickwork all the way around, which looks great, but just check that 25 courses is enough clearance for any vehicles you're going to have. Look, my dad has a home with a 25 course T-bar to his garage. It is quite low, but he doesn't have any issues because his 4-wheel drive doesn't have any roof racks or anything stored above it. So it is just something to check. Other than that, the front of the home looks beautiful, and I think you'll be really, really happy with it. Moving on through the rest of the rooms, we're going to look at the master suite. I think it's really functional the way that you've configured this. Our entry door is hidden, even your theatre, we've got offset brickwork. Okay, so we've got 600 mil of brickwork to this side, so this is where your TV will go. And then we've got more brickwork on this side, so we can put our couch here. So we've got a designated spot for the TV and a designated spot for the couch. Really smart design, so well done. The ensuite, beautiful. I love this setup with having the vanity in front of both the shower recess and the WC. Now, I've noticed that there is no window to your shower recess, so obviously that's not important to you. If that's the case, you may as well consider swapping the shower recess with the WC. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm assuming we have the WC and shower configured this way because we want to try and increase the distance between the steam coming through to your walk-in robe, and it's also closer to the window. So I'm assuming that's why we've got it on this side. If you weren't concerned about that, you could look at potentially swapping these two just so that you're not looking at the WC door as you come in. I love that you've got that ledge wall hidden behind the vanity on this side. Very, very cool. If you've been following my channel, you know that I love ledge walls, even the tap's in the right spot. So can't fault any of this so far. It's looking really good. Coming through, we've got our activity room on this side. So it looks like it's going to be a purpose-built room, judging by the shape, and we've got a storeroom in there as well. Beds 2, 3 and 4, they've all got walk-in robes. You've obviously requested this, you've got something in mind. The only thing I would kind of have a look at is the dining room here, the passageway through here. It may feel a little bit tight with how much space we have here. So if it wasn't a must-have to have a walk-in robe, what we could do is extend this storeroom to pretty much this point here, and then have a mirrored sliding robe to here. And then that's going to just push this wall upwards a bit, and that's going to open up this space a little bit more. But again, I'm not 100% sure on the cabinetry that you're planning on putting here. So what I would want to do is draw in all of your furniture, whatever it is you're putting. You said you've got a big dining table, draw that into this space, draw in your cabinetry here, and just make sure that we're not making this area feel too tight and closed in. The last thing I will mention is this sliding door we have here to the alfresco. It is a 4-panel sliding door. So if you wanted to increase the size of these panels, you could go to a 3-panel window and then just have a single opening panel in the middle. That's going to reduce the number of kind of mullions that you're seeing, or supports that you're seeing running vertically. If you wanted to increase the glass and reduce the number of supports that you've got, it's a really cool plan. I really like it. So thank you so much for sending it through, and I hope those tips have been helpful. We are moving on to Mr. Luke. Luke sent through his floor plan 4x2 with a center alfresco. He has said, "Good morning, mate. I just finished watching a video on the floor plan review, and I thought it might be interesting if you would have a look over mine. The house is already built, and I've redacted some information on the floor plan. In a few years, I'll be looking at doing some minor renovations inside the house, but would like your opinion on what could be added, removed during the time of the renos." So with a new floor plan like this, I wouldn't be too concerned about making any major changes, to brickwork and to the home itself structurally. Flooring and aesthetics, no problem at all. Looking at this floor plan, it is very unique. It's obviously been designed around the block. We've got that side garage access. I had a look at the lot. It's a bit of an angled lot on this side, so most of the yard is here. So it makes sense to have that center alfresco design. Trying to comment on a design like this without sitting on a proper design brief with Luke and not understanding his needs and his budget is really going to be quite arbitrary. So I don't really want to comment too much on the overall plan. The only two things I would point out in terms of making this existing floor plan slightly better, because this side of the home is the southern side, and because we would naturally have the garden and the backyard, I suppose, on this side of the home, we would want to try and open this side of the home as much as possible. So I can see in the family room, we've got a 10-course window. I would make this a 25-course window, full height window, because we're not going to get any harsh sunlight through here, number one, and we want to really open up the home as much as possible. You're not really going to lose anything by doing that. I think it's going to be a value add. The other thing, in the theater room, I can see you've got 925 millimeters of brickwork either side of your entry. So a lot of the couches, they're going to be 1,000 millimeters in depth minimum. And for your TV recess, you never really need more than 800 millimeters as a maximum. Sometimes 400 to 500 millimeters can be enough. 600 mil is safe. But on the other side, on the couch side, we would want to have at least 1,000 mil, if not 1,200. So having it off center like that is just going to make the room easier to furnish. So that's just one thing that I noted. Let me know in the comment section below if that's true with your couch. Can you see it? Is it sticking out on one side, or or have you managed to configure that in a different way? I'd love to know. And then the last thing is the distance between our WC and our bathroom, only because we don't have a wall hung basin or a vanity in the WC here. You know, we're walking kind of through our activity to wash our hands. I really like the fact that we've got all this glazing to this side, because this is north on this side. Having this passageway through the left-hand side, I think it's quite nice. And I think it's a really functional floor plan as well. I think you've done well with the space, and that's pretty much it. All I've got to say about that. So Luke, I hope that's been interesting for you. Moving on to our third and final design for the day, and it has been posted by Anonymous. The message reads, "Hi Jem, been a fan of your YouTube channel. Do you mind reviewing our floor plan? Let us know what you think and if we need to change anything else. PS, please keep us anonymous as well. Thanks." What we have is a 4x2 with a theatre at the front. We've got a garage with a bit of extra depth. We've got our scullery and laundry together, and we've got a small activity room coming off the kitchen. I don't know the north point, it hasn't been given to me. I'm not gonna look into that at all. What we're gonna do is we're simply going to analyze the floor plan and see if there's any feedback that we can provide. I feel like sometimes the positive feedback is just as important as the fixes, because you can go through this process and you'll be staring at this floor plan for weeks and sometimes months, and it's sometimes nice to know that you've done certain things right. And I think that this floor plan is one of those where it's going to be mostly positive. I would be more than happy to sign off on this plan. I think it's been designed really well. If it has met your budget and your design requirements, I think it's extremely functional. So let's get stuck into it. So we've got our entry point here. We've got a 1200mm wide aluminium door. Fantastic. So we've got kind of like a little foyer here that is our access point for a recess, our theatre, and the master bedroom. What I like about it, we've got a theatre with 490mm of brickwork on this side here. What that does is this makes this wall our designated TV recess wall. We've got a 1050mm wide entry point into our theatre, which I think is the minimum that you would want to have, just to make it easy to push furniture through, especially because we are coming through a corner. So you want to make sure in these situations, you're not making this opening too tight, because you're going to move bulky furniture through here. So I think this is fine. And then we've got more brickwork on this side. So this will be, of course, where our couch will go. So theatre, fantastic. You've done really well. We've got a recess on this side, 600mm deep, which again is the right dimensions for a recess. If you wanted me to be super picky, what I would do is I would add another leaf of brickwork just here. So if you don't have a specific width or a specific cabinet that's already going to be moved into this space, and you are okay with losing a little bit of width, just so that when you come through and you're staring straight at that profile of that brickwork, I rather look at something a little bit thicker. It just looks a little bit more premium, and everyone's going to see that as it is in your entry. Going through into the master suite, I like that you're not looking down at a door. If you care about feng shui, which some of our viewers do, this is also good. We're not looking directly down at where the bed's going to be. We've got our robe on this side, and we've got our ensuite over here. So two things that have been done really well. Number one, the way the shower recess is a very smart use of space. And number two, I like the fact that we don't have a window to the front facade, because this is going to be more private. If this was in a different situation, I'd say, let's put the window here, because you want to have light coming to you in the ensuite, either from the side or from the front, just because when you're looking at the mirror, that's going to be the most useful to you. Here we have the window behind us. This isn't really going to be our main source of light. We are going to be relying on the LEDs in this space, so it's not a big deal, and we've made it as big as possible. So the way that this ensuite has been configured, I think is fantastic. The garage, I can see that it's been made deeper than normal, and we don't have the door at the very back, which means we can use this part of the home for storage. I think that's great. Also, we've got a manual roller door accessing the back of the home. Very happy with this. We've got a 180-degree hinge here. Everything's really functional. We've got a really nice wide entry passageway. And when we look through into this passageway, we're not looking straight into the home. We've got that privacy because we've got an L-shaped entry. Really nice big family dining area. And we've got a recess in this space. I think it's probably exactly what you wanted. Kitchen scullery is together here. The only thing that I will note is Our island bench is quite narrow, so if you are wanting to use this as a bit of a breakfast bar, the overhang might not be as much as you might like. So just something to check. Moving through, we've got the scullery and the laundry on this side, broom closet, linen, a void for both the washing machine and dryer underneath the bench top. I think you have a purpose for this activity room. You haven't mentioned it in your emails. I've configured homes like this a lot, so I can assume it's there for a specific reason. So I don't really have too much to comment on that. Just be aware of how this window will impact this space. So if you're not planning on doing any barbecuing and you don't really need this wall to be completely bricked up for any reason, by all means, leave it as is. But if you were thinking of potentially having a barbecue along this wall, then two things that could potentially change. Changing this to a wider highlight window, and then just shuffling this sliding door across to the right, because we do have plenty of brickwork on this side. That's only if you were thinking about doing a barbecue area on this side. Otherwise, you can leave it as is, no problem at all. As we walk down this passageway, I like the fact that we're not looking at any door frames, so that's very good. We've got bed 2 here. I love how the robe has been recessed against the linen. Really functional use of space. I love that. Coming through, we've got more linen storage on this side, again, in a really handy area. We've got a WC with its own wall-hung basin, which I also like, and then we've got a really good bathroom on this side here. So we've got beds 3 and 4. They seem to be good enough sizes. We've got a square bulkhead here, so obviously that initially would have been a raking bulkhead, and you've upgraded that to a square one. The only thing I would mention is we've got a 14-course window here. I think it is a sliding window, so either we can turn that into an awning window or potentially make it a little bit taller and convert it to an awning, just because it is your only source of natural light into the space. Yeah, your consultants nailed it. You've done really well. Yeah, if you're watching the video and you can see something that I've missed, or you're jumping at the screen and you're wanting me to mention something but I haven't seen it, please let me know in the comment section below. What I really want to do is I really want to have a safe space for people to feel comfortable asking for feedback. We're not here to cut people down. We want to try and help people on their home building journey, because it is so daunting. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I'll see you next week. I just want to add one last note. I recently had someone comment, and I'm going to share the comment with you because I think it's quite valid. I have a lot of people say similar things. So yeah, so someone wrote on one of the last videos, I despair of architecture, if you can call it that, in Australia for new builds. So boringly the same. No suburban diversity, far too much house on small blocks, leaving no yard. Failure to orientate the solar path. The alterations mentioned were all okay, but in the end, you are still left with boring cookie cutter builds. Sigh. Here are my thoughts on that. So people saying that, you know, we've got these cookie cutter homes and that they're all boring and, you know, all the estates look the same. We've got a bit of an affordability issue with homes, and especially first home buyers. So if you can appreciate that a lot of house and land packages now are $850,000 at a minimum, and that's, you know, to be in a new estate with your so-called cookie cutter homes. The architectural homes, you know, that you see along West Coast Drive, they all look unique and they all look different because when you're at that price point, you can afford to spend money on looking different and having a more of an architectural plan. What we're looking at doing on this channel, we're not looking at trying to reinvent the wheel or create, you know, architectural beauty. What we want to do is we want to try and help people, you know, real working class people with whatever they can with their budget and optimize their floor plan. Of course, it's going to be in a new estate, and of course, there's only that many ways you can design a single story home. And for a lot of people, this is their dream to have a home that they own and that they can afford. So I don't believe that, well, I don't agree with saying that these homes are all boring. And I think that it's really important to understand that home ownership in itself is a great achievement, especially in today's climate. So again, I understand the point of view, but not everyone has the unlimited budget to focus on architectural design and showcasing their unique flair. So the best we can do is to try to customize the home to best suit each person and to keep it within budget. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.